I'll call the meeting to order, and we will be blessed by the invocation and pledge from none other than Dr. Darrell Hall, pastor at the Way Community Church.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, I'm glad to be with you all this morning. Thankful for the opportunity to help to get today's order of business started. Do you mind if we bow our heads and pray? God in heaven, we honor you today, and we thank you for your love for us. Thank you for this place we call Rockdale County and its significance to our families and our businesses and the things and people we love most. We ask today your blessings upon this gathering. We pray for our chairwoman and our commissioners. Lord, they have a heavy task and a significant responsibility. And we ask that you would grace them with the joy, the internal strength, and the wisdom they need to carry the burden of their responsibility. We pray that you give them wisdom and insight as they lead us and guide us into the best future for our county. We also pray for our people, all of our people. We pray for our people who are struggling, those who are hurting, those who are in need. We pray for those who are running businesses, those who are working hard. We pray for those who are wealthy and those who are not. We pray for those who are healthy and for those who are not. For all of the people that comprise the Rockdale community, we ask a blessing upon them. And we pray for a spirit of unity and peace to just pervade our streets. Bless us today. In your son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
At this time, if we could, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Pastor Hall, I would like to thank you for a beautiful Easter Sunday service. It was very nice. Absolutely. Thank you. All right. Best wishes. All right, at this time we have special recognitions and presentations, and we'll begin with National EMS giving us an update. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. Appreciate you letting us have some time out here today. I'll try to keep it brief, as I am known to run away sometimes. So my name is John Bansel. I'm the Vice President of Operations for National. We are the zone and EMS provider here for Rockdale County, and we couldn't be more happy to be here. Along with me today is Haley Brown. She is our operations manager for Rockdale County. So she is the person that handles all the day-to-day operations here in Rockdale County, along with our three operations supervisors who kind of run like battalion chiefs for us, who's Faith Schuff, Joanna Ames, and Gary Riggin. So currently, National EMS, we operate a minimum of 4 paramedic level units. So that means every single day we have 4 ambulances at a minimum staffed with a minimum of a paramedic EMT. Generally, it's actually a paramedic and an advanced EMT, which are provides an advanced level of care by both providers. Even though the advanced EMT is a little bit, has less training, they also have more training than the EMT basic. It's a testament to our leadership that their push, without being pushed by me, we're actually making that the way of the future for their 911 staffing. So currently, we also have added an additional ambulance at no cost to the county at this time for an additional ambulance called 605. So this time we actually have 5 ambulances that are dedicated to the 911 system. That does not include our one supervisor, who is a paramedic that can also upgrade our inter-facility trucks if needed. We also run 2 more additional inter-facility trucks that actually generally take people from the hospital to home, hospital to hospital. However, if the system is backed up, we can't get mutual aid or one of our trucks can't clear quick enough, we will be able to utilize them. Sometimes there is a paramedic on that truck, and sometimes it is what we would consider a basic crew, but we have that paramedic supervisor in order to update that update that. One of the things that was a trouble of National in the past was our staffing. Prior to my tenure, when I got here in March of last year, one of the struggles was being able to actually staff to what we are contracted with the county for. I am proud to report since February of last year, so February 2024, not a day has gone by where we've dropped below the 4 required paramedics on the street. Most days we've exceeded that. I mean, I really want to say there's only been, when I say a handful of days that we've actually been at minimum. We're just that busy. When you hear that there is times that there are no ambulances available, we're just that busy. And we're continuing, as I said, to work to make sure that we get that staffing to 1 paramedic and 1 advanced EMT on the 911 side. Response times are one of those things that we use as metrics to kind of judge how we're doing. Now, as a whole, we're looking, a lot of calls, response times aren't necessarily the end-all be-all. I know that's a shocking statement, especially for me. I've been a paramedic by trade for 22 years, and when I went to paramedic school, everything was a life or death emergency. So even in my mind, going on priority 2 calls where we actually shut the lights off and go with traffic is something that's still a work in my mind. However, between all our calls, priority 1 and priority 3, we have a 12-minute and 43-second response time. So NFPA has their standards, but we also on EMS have our standards, and we're looking at our standards at about 12:59. So while we're still under that, obviously there's still room for improvement, and I think that we have some creative ideas to try to improve that, especially to our priority 1 calls. But overall, we're doing much better in that. One of the reasons that we're still working on these response times, getting them down to where I would feel more comfortable, is wall time at the hospital. Hospitals are backed up. They're still short of staff, although we're lucky. Our team has done a great job of recruiting and retaining people, and boosting our staffing to the point that they don't have to pull their hair every day about staffing. Hospital is still working on their staffing, and just the amount of volume that the hospital is seeing with patients. One of the other things we're committed to is working with our EOC and our communication center. Currently, the county actually dispatches us on our ambulance calls, which is phenomenal. On going away from a zone dispatch, so currently we dispatch by zone, to a more live, actual time dispatch. So one of the things that we have on all our trucks are GPS tracking, and we've given that information to the county's EOC, and we still have we are waiting to complete an integration system called FR911 into our CAD system, and once that CAD system is complete, they will then be able to view our trucks in live time. So, for example, if there was a medical emergency here right now, and this is actually 601 zone, but 602 is at the hospital right down the street, and they're closer, they would actually get dispatched, versus as of right now, 601 would get dispatched, and it would be up to the crew to say, hey, we're actually closer. And the crews don't necessarily know where each other is. That's we don't give out, that to our employees, because then, not on the 911 side, but on our IFT side, like I said, I've been a paramedic for a while. Sometimes we like to hide and, and get a little extra downtime. And then, as I said, we've added that 605 demand truck. We started it off as a demand truck and we didn't fill it, but now it is actually staffed and filled and is part of our rotation. So it does add an additional level of coverage to the county. In 2024, we responded to 29,146 calls total in Rockdale County, with 24,208 of those being transports. That's actually an 83.1% transport rate, which is actually very high. Generally, the transport rate, so what we call a dry rate, is around 60%. So here in Rockdale County, when they're calling an ambulance, they're actually going to the hospital, which also can contribute to longer times with having 5 ambulances for the population that we have here in Rockdale County. Once again, talking about response times, our total response time for priority 1 calls were 9 minutes and 55 seconds in 2024. This does, 8 minutes and 59 seconds I believe is what the NFPA would like. So we do fall short of that. However, the 12 minutes and 59 seconds that APCO, which is the dispatch standards, we're still meeting. And actually, it's 12 minutes and 56 seconds for priority 2 calls, which is really good. Priority 2 calls are, after they've been triaged by a call taker, have determined to be that of a lower priority. Not that we like to think that anybody's a lower priority. However, if somebody's having difficulty breathing, and then somebody calls for nightmares, which are really what people have called for, we're going to send the ambulance to the person that's having difficulty breathing versus the nightmares first, if we have to choose a resource. If both resources are available, both get dispatched at the same time. Just we're going to come lights and sirens to the difficulty breathing, and the nightmares are going to get a just standard response through traffic. Our top 10 calls for the year, here in Rockdale County, number 1 was sick person. Sick person is that category where, other than unknown, we just classify, it could be very vague, and that's what they are. Breathing problems account for number 2. 3 is traffic accidents. Unknown problems is actually 4, and this is something that we're currently working on, once again, with our EOC staff and our communication staff, because our dispatch center also takes these and codes them, so to get better data, because unknown problem doesn't necessarily tell us anything, and I want to make sure that resources are directed the right way. Falls, unconscious, laceration, seizures, and abdominal pain. Our number 1 hospital that we transport is right here in Rockdale County to Piedmont Rockdale Medical Center. They've been a great partner of ours. Love working with them and look forward to continue to work with them. Number 2 is Piedmont Newton, and then it's to Grady for major trauma, such like that. And then after that, it would go down to Scottish Rite, which is the children's hospital when we need to send peds up there. One of the things I've been talking about with all our municipal partners is just in complete transparency is our billing rates. In some of our areas and, in nationally, ambulance billing rates have been a focus of, several media attention. And one of the things is we are working diligently to try to get into network with insurance companies. However, even in our days right now, hospitals are having problems with getting in network with insurance companies. St. Mary's, it's on their website, which is one of our facilities in the Athens market, currently actually says it's out of network with one of their large providers. I don't remember which one, so I don't want to say, just because I don't want to be wrong. But they're currently renegotiating going back into network, and that's huge for them because, it's the same thing. And, while our bills can be expensive, I would hate to get a hospital bill being out of network. So currently, for a BLS and an ALS emergency, we bill $3,206.78. That is the cash price. Now, that doesn't mean that that's what you're going to pay. There are some times that insurance companies do work and negotiate, depending on our deductibles and everything, but that is our base rate, and we charge $47.82 per mile. So that is what we bill. We do have provisions within our contract for certain Medicare rates for certain groups here within Rockdale County, and we stick to that. I will be honest with you, out of all the areas I serve, Rockdale County is the one I've heard the least when it comes to billing issues. Doesn't mean that they don't exist. It's just where I've heard the least. And we're always constantly working for that. The last thing I want anybody to do is to go, bankrupt over medical debt.
John,
yes.
can you tell us what the Medicare rate is for transport?
I would have to get that
Okay.
back to you.
Yeah, if you'll
'Cause I
get
don't-
back to me.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Because we don't want anybody to, go without that. We do have very creative ways of billing and payment plans and such like that and discounts. So I do encourage anybody to reach out to our billing department if they have issues with that. And then if they don't, please feel free to reach out to my office. Myself or one of my representatives will reach out, and we generally try to work with people. At the end of the day, I'm remiss, we are a business. We have to make money in order to keep the lights on, and but and pay our employees, but at the end of the day, we want to be a good neighbor and a good steward as well. Our current subsidy for Rockdale County is $400,449. I can't talk.
I think it's $447,000.
Correct. I can't talk today. I am sorry.
It's okay.
It with $70,000 in fuel, so almost $500,000 is where we come in. This helps with the cost of readiness. So this number directly, as I've said, always goes directly to the salaries and the readiness of the truck. This does not go to National's coffers for our profit. It's not actually within that realm. All the subsidies that are given to us by the municipalities, and we're very grateful for, goes directly to our employees. So that is why we work diligently to make sure that with our partners that we always have a rate that can be agreed upon and it is fair for all. And we are in our last year of our first 3 years of the contract with the 2-year extension after that. For Rockdale County, I have no intentions on coming forward at the end of the 3 to ask for an increase because of the 2 years, the two-year extensions, as long as we continue to agree on those. Unless you were to ask me to add 7 more trucks, then we would have to talk. Because honestly, well, we're good with staffing. I don't know where I would find them. So our recommendations for this year, we're going to continue to review the system and review where we can improve. The afternoon, we seem to get really hit heavy, and some ambulance times do wind up being longer. I think that's where our response times really hit us hard, and people wind up waiting on priority 2 calls. Once again, it's just we've hit the maximum resources. Like I said, we're going to continue to look, and the commissioners would like to explore adding additional ambulances. That's something we can talk about, but unfortunately, that one comes with the dirty word of an increased subsidy, and I'm not trying to, like I said, fleece the taxpayers. As a a taxpayer, not in this county, but myself, if my local service came and said we needed more money, the county I live in recently failed the SPLOT override just because, not because of the amount, but because they didn't like the direction it was going in.
Can you repeat that? What?
The county that I live in, they actually failed the SPLOT over, like the
SPLOS
Yeah,
tax,
thank you.
yes.
I'm not originally from here.
Okay.
So when I think of taxes override, I'm from Massachusetts. We did overrides.
Yes.
And they failed that, which Bryan County has had for 20 years. And just because of where they, winds up being a penny or something like that, but just because of where it was going. So I get it.
Yes.
So in closing, we are very happy to be, partnered with Rockdale County. We really, truly love what we do. Our team is constantly working to try to make things better. I like to look at it as let's keep moving forward and let's not move back, because we have our foot on the gas now. And, not only are we delivering what we were contractually obligated to deliver, I want to deliver better than that. And I don't want, I just want people to have good service. As I tell my people every day, I want you to go out and be the best providers you can. Let me and my team worry about the business end. So with that, if anybody has any questions, I would love to entertain them.
I do have a question for you, and just so you know, I don't think I've mentioned this before in my meeting with you, but we used to have a program with the hospital that would address, I guess, some of the frequent flyers that like a ride to the hospital, and identifying those people to work with the paramedics with your company to really help reduce those calls. And so they worked with them for more of a holistic approach, looking at diet and things like that to try and reduce those numbers, which obviously benefits not only you having to respond so many times, but also the hospital having to treat and then send right back home. So we can talk about that more offline, but certainly that may be an opportunity for everybody to benefit. So I do also want to mention that we partner with you and the fire department for housing some of the ambulances. How many ambulances do we have in the fire departments now? Three. Okay. All right. And we've talked about further, if you need to locate some of the other stations for quicker responses in those areas as well. So.
Yes. Chief Robinson has been phenomenal to work with, and
Yes.
I'm very, very happy that he's the chief in the position. And I have very, very many good things to say about him, not just here in public. I'd say him in private too.
Very good. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
So I was a little surprised to hear about your response time and what the standards are even. So I understand that the fire service can get there, they usually get on site first. And so with EMTs on that they have in their service, how does that assist with what you're doing?
So they get on scene. They start providing basic level, care that I consider basic. It's not basic by any stretch of the imagination. They can start by assessing the patient to figure out what's wrong. Sometimes we get a patient that calls for chest pain, and chest pain isn't always chest pain, right? We get there and it's a just generic 24-year-old female, 24-year-old male broke up with their significant other. They call because they're having a panic attack, and it gets called and it gets relayed as chest pain. Fire department gets there, they assess that patient, they do some vital signs, and our ambulance may be coming lights and sirens from the hospital or a distance to get to that patient, and they're able to say, hey, this patient is stable. They provide that stability for that patient in that initial assessment to get somebody there, especially in the time critical calls. Stroke, for example. Stroke is a time critical call.
Mm-hmm.
They get on scene, they assess, and they determine that this patient is generally having stroke symptoms. This gets relayed to us when we walk right through the door, and it saves steps of our providers having to go through and redo everything. So if the fire department didn't respond and didn't provide that, there could be significant delays in that time of recognition of critical incidents and critical medical events for our people, here in Rockdale County, just because of how they provide that level of care. I come into a call, like I said, being a paramedic myself, and I hear that somebody's having a stroke, and that the fire department EMTs have decided have determined that that person's really having a stroke. It drastically changes the way I'm going to deliver my on-scene care versus having to go in and actually assess the patient, determine that they are. Now we've already determined that. Now we can get them to the ambulance, and a lot of the interventions that I would have to do as a paramedic, I can now do en route to the hospital, to that definitive care. The same thing for chest pain, difficulty breathing. They can get there, they give them oxygen prior to our arrival, and it is just, there's no shortage of the good amount of things that they do. And, that whole, we're bringing a fire truck, but that first level of care, that first 10 minutes of care is vital in those critical situations.
So one more question. Thank you for that. What is your relationship with the VA hospital?
With National, we don't have a relationship with the VA hospital. Other than if it had an emergency room that was open for transport, we would transport veterans. But generally, National doesn't do anything regarding the VA hospital.
Okay, but you do transport to the VA hospital.
If it is so VAs are a little tricky, and in my previous life, I actually was on a VA contract for another company. VAs get a little tricky because not all their emergency rooms are actually what our Department of Public Health would consider an emergency room. So I would have to find if those emergency rooms are able to accept ambulance patients, and if it was and the patient requested, we would absolutely bring them there.
Okay, so but the one on Claremont.
Depends if they have room. A lot of the times, like 90% of the time, if they won't accept, they usually just do hospital-to-hospital transports. So they'll accept patients from other hospitals
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you.
I will say that the VA system, though, should, if it's a question of, billing and payment, if it is truly an emergency, my experience with the VA and working on the contract and having my own father that's going through this right now, when, like I said, we live just outside of Savannah, there is no VA hospital nearby. They generally will take care of that gap.
Right.
So,
Yeah, they do.
but we, VA, we accept that as one of our insurers and everything like that as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Chief Robinson, if you could address for a moment, just to, talk about the relationship with the EMS and some of the things, the initiatives that you are doing to make sure response time is good, and also address the EMT requirement for fire,
Yes, ma'am.
fire
So-
officers.
Yes, ma'am. So
Thank
as John stated, we've had meetings in the past and continue to meet. We have a really good relationship with EMS. We do house 3 of their ambulances in our fire stations. We've actually talked about, as we are renovating some of our stations, making them more conducive to having those living conditions where they have a better place to live. So right now, it's kind of a second thought. So Station 1, they're kind of housed in a it's not a closet, but it's all but a closet, So it was not made for that. And so they actually have sleeping rooms and things like that. So we are working with them to ensure that they have quicker access to all the residents of Rockdale County. And truly, there are some needs for other areas. So as we look at Station 4 and some of the other rebuilds that we're looking at, some of the older stations, is actually putting those ambulances in those stations. The thing about Rockdale Fire is that we all but, I believe, 4 personnel right now are EMTs, at least EMT basic. So it goes EMT basic. There was an old intermediate, and EMT intermediate, which has been phased out, which is now the new EMT advanced, and then there's a paramedic program. So some of us are paramedics. We have a good bit of intermediate and advanced, but most are basics. Intermediate and advanced and up can do IV therapy and a lot of the treatments that we can get that started before they arrive on scene. So we have the same training. We go to the same school that most of the EMTs go to, and it's all the same curriculum and the same certification. So it's a continuity of care when we when we have that patient originally, and then they come in, we just give them that same, we're talking the same verbiage, the same terminology. It's not simply, hey, we just showed up and took a blood pressure, here you go. Sometimes that's the case. You just, like John said, sometimes that's all that's needed at the time. So we do have a lot of equipment on our truck. We are state certified as a medical first responder, licensed medical first responder unit. All of our units are, all our first out units, and we get every year the state office EMS comes in and actually does a audit of us and goes through all of our trucks and make sure we have those things. So again, we have IV therapy, we have cardiac monitors, we have a lot of equipment. Every truck has an AED. The battalion chiefs have the same equipment, so they're in SUVs and they ride around. And if they are close to a call, they may stop and help out. So we run a lot of EMS calls. We have a great relationship with National and try to reduce the response times. We have a lot more engines than they have ambulances, and we're a lot closer. So we have throughout the station or throughout the county, our 10 stations allows us to get places a lot quicker than they can. So that's why it's such it's so important for us to continue that EMT initiative and eventually look towards even getting that higher level of care. So our minimum is basic, that's the requirement, but we actually want to start having in-house advanced classes. They'll already, our staff would already be on shift, but it's something they can take while they're on shift, and they can try to increase their levels so they can do the IV stuff and some of the breathing treatments and some of the drugs that are needed for those life-saving measures.
Very good. Thank you. I just want to make sure all of our citizens have confidence in our response times and our services that are provided, and we appreciate our partnership with National EMS.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, next we have Parks and Recreation. We have an update from Tahara Wilson.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I would like to bring a new program and initiative that Parks and Recreation will be implementing and rolling out. We did a premiere last weekend, but we also have more programming coming in the coming months. So with that said, I want PR to cue up the video. It's a promotional video.
What happened? Where are we?
Fell asleep during a dream.
So like I can wish for anything I want, like a big truck full of toys that I can play with my friends?
Yeah, now we're talking.
Welcome to Wrecking Crew, a brand new way to play in Rockdale. We're bringing the fun to you with games, sports, arts and crafts, and even brain-boosting challenges like cognitive games and structured play. Consider it a recreation center on wheels. No sign-ups, no fees, just show up. And parents, stick around. It's not just for the kids. Join in the fun, connect with other parents, and make great memories together. We're rolling all over Rockdale County, stopping at different parks in the community throughout the month, usually in the mornings and afternoons with some weekend fun too. And guess what? We move locations, so every neighborhood gets a chance to play. Catch us if you can. Ages 4 to 18 are welcome, but we're geared especially for kids 5 to 12. Whether your kid is into soccer, frisbee, hula hooping, or getting creative with sidewalk chalk, we've got something for everyone. Find us nearby by checking out our monthly schedule on our website, Facebook, Instagram, or by calling 770-278-7529.
Well, it's been fun, but we have to go now, which means you have to wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
We should all wave back, right?
Yeah, that was very cute.
Yes, excellent. Thank you. So the new program is called The Wrecking Crew, as you can see. And with the promo video, I would like to give a special thank you to the creative kids, Miss Jenny Caruso, which is a local acting agency here in Rockdale County. So she graciously allowed us to use some of her students. So that's who you saw in that, as well as some Parks and Rec kids who we're parents of. We also had young Carter, who was the lead actor in there from the acting school. Parks and Rec staff, who are also here today. We used actually Costly Mills Event Center and the lawn at Wheeler Park as our backdrops. In addition, thank you to Miss Janetta, who lent her great voice in the narration of the video, and Mr. Anthony Barkdole from UGA, who treated, filmed, produced it, and had every camera out there that day. So thank you to him. I also would like to extend sincere thanks to the members and faculty of UGA Cooperative Extension and the University of Georgia's College of Public Health, their Georgia High Obesity Program, which stands for GHOP, for their invaluable partnership and support. So some of them are actually here today, and just to give you a little backdrop, Miss Mary Beth Hornback, who was formerly with UGA Cooperative Extension, came to us last year with this opportunity. The Wrecking Crew had already been on the forefront of our minds of implementation, but when she brought this opportunity to partner and have support through UGA College of Public Health, we jumped right on it. So I would like to thank Ms. Heather Zurcher and Ms. Jessica Smith, who were collaborators on this project. They're in the audience back there, as well as Ms. Heather Padilla, again, Anthony Barkdall, Katie Walker, Kylie Zaricki, and all their other support staff. So with their support, GHOP was able to provide $2,500 in funding, which they purchased supplies from their procurement process in-house with UGA for equipment and supplies. In addition, they helped promote with the video, producing it and filming it, creating the graphic design for the Wrecking Crew logo, designing evaluation tools and measures, and also creating a pre-implementation survey with our collaboration and input. So the evaluation process and the data will continue to be collected from the start of this program to the end, and they'll be involved in that process. They also did some research and a lit review on mobile recreation, which you'll see later in the presentation. All right, so again, I'm Tahara Wilson, the Interim Director for Parks and Recreation, and this is the Wrecking Crew. Again, like the video said, consider it a recreation center on wheels. If you can go to the next slide, please. So the mobile recreation unit, as you saw on the video, will be providing play, outdoor play, structured activities for youth in Rockdale County. The goal is to continue to promote fun, health, and social interaction to our kids in the community, as well as families. We want to eliminate those barriers. There are some communities here in Rockdale County, some youth who cannot get to Johnson Park Recreation Center. So we want to bring that option to them by providing staff on scene, providing structured play in real time. We want to make sure that we're also connecting the community. It's very important. It's one of our goals as Parks and Rec to provide a better quality of life. So we do that by connecting the community with our programs and services. Think of activities as field day activities. So in the scene, tug of war rope, hula hoop, obstacle courses, arts and crafts, just structured play all around. We want to receive input from the kids too when they get there. So the staff will set up play, but if they have a game that they want to play, we're going to try it. In addition to that, again, we did a soft little launch at the Easter Extravaganza last Saturday, and it went really great. We had families involved, parents, the kids were out there. I had 2 young ladies who won 6 games in a row on the tug of war rope. So it was fantastic. And this program will be free. There's no charge. We just ask if the parents do come out to the park that day, that they stay with their kids to make sure there's oversight. The program will be offered during out of school time, which is right at the end of spring, right at the end of May, all the way through July. And we will be offering services during cultural arts events held by Parks and Recreation, BOC, things of that nature. We plan to, work with Rockdale County Public Schools and other community groups that are stakeholders. Can you move to the next slide, please? All right, the importance of play. I know everybody in this room remembers play and how fun it felt. So we want to make sure that we bring that back because there's a lot of good benefits that happen with play. As you can see, it improves physical, cognitive, and emotional strength. It enhances and promotes creativity and problem-solving skills, allow kids to get out there and be active in preventing childhood obesity, getting their blood going, stretching, and just being social at the same time. In addition, providing a sense of confidence and reducing feelings of isolation. So like I said, we want to bring play back to the forefront. And so with that, the Wrecking Crew would bring that. Next slide, please. The lit review completed by UGA College of Public Health. The research looked at the impact of mobile recreation and obesity prevention. So they found that 1 in 5 and 2 in 5 adults across the U.S. experience obesity. 109 mobile recreation programs currently in the United States. 105 actually include vehicles. There are only 4 mobile recreation programs similar to the Wrecking Crew in the state of Georgia. So Rockdale will be the 5th. So that's a demonstration of how we are staying on trend within our parks and recreation industry. Most programs are ran and operated by local parks and recreation departments. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this is an actual heat map. So we did a survey and we asked the community exactly where do you want the Wrecking Crew? Where do you want to see it? So it's probably hard to see, but those plots, those little blue dots with the orange circles is just telling you where in the county near some of the parks that the community want us to go to. So you have the lawn at Wheeler Park, you have Johnson, you have Costly Mill. So we plan to go to every park that has a playground. So again, that schedule will be out on a monthly basis, so community members will be able to follow us accordingly.
Will that be on social media?
Yeah, it'll be on social media platforms. We'll share it with the PR department to put on the Rockdale County page. It'll be on our website. We'll continue to do email blasts through our registration database. We'll have flyers at our different locations. So it'll be advertised pretty well.
Can you tell us the exact page that Parks and Recreation has on social media?
So it's called Rockdale County Parks and Recreation. That's the actual name.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Very
Okay.
good.
Yep. Next slide. And that is another picture, side profile and the front shot of the Wrecking Crew mobile. And just to clarify, no one can actually get on the vehicle. We will activate play outside of the vehicle. Okay. Next slide. And this is how you can contact us and stay close to the schedule to get all the information that you need. Again, you can contact us directly at Johnson Park Rec Center. You can go to our social media pages, and you can also go to our website, the Rockdale County website, Parks and Rec link. All right, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's exciting.
You just took me back decades.
I did. That's what it's about. Yeah, that's what it's about.
Our community park, whatever they were called back then, used to come to a local school near us every summer. And my sister and I would go, and I could actually remember some of the activities as you were talking. We loved it. Thank you.
So next we'll hear from Director Kimberly Peak with Rockdale Water Resources about our Big Haynes Creek.
Hey, good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I do have a presentation that we will be, with the help from PA, we will be showing of the multi-beam bathymetric survey that we had performed in 2022 by the United States Geological Survey Team. First, I want to tell or explain what a multi-beam bathymetric survey is. A multi-beam bathymetric survey is a method that uses advanced sonar technology to create detailed 3D maps of a water body seafloor by sending out multiple sonar beams simultaneously to measure the depth of water body as well as map the underwater features of the water body. I also have a brief overview before we tee up the presentation, and a brief overview. In 2022, the U.S. Geological Survey Team conducted a multi-beam bathymetric survey of Randy Portner Lake to update estimates of the reservoir storage capacity and evaluate sedimentation-related losses. This initiative was at the request of Rockdale County Department of Water Resources and was intended to measure changes in storage capacity since the initial multi-beam survey that was conducted in 2012. Can we tee up the video?
Good day, my name is Amanda Whaling. I'm a hydrologist with the U.S. Geological Survey, and today I'll be discussing the results of a study we published last year that provides updated reservoir storage capacity estimates for Rainy Pointer Lake and also looks at storage capacity change since 2012. This project was really exciting to work on because Rainy Pointer is one of the few reservoirs where high-resolution bathymetry data has already been collected, offering us the rare opportunity to compare changes since the first survey in 2012. Specifically, when we are talking about change that occurs over time in reservoirs, we are interested in sediment infilling and how that is affecting overall storage capacity. Sediment discharge into Randy Corner Lake originates from sources such as Big Haynes Creek and its tributaries, shown here where it enters at the northern end of the lake. Sediment settles to the lake bottom and can decrease the storage capacity of the lake over time because the sediment remains trapped. Satellite imagery from 2002, 2014, and 2021 shows a growing sediment deposit at the Big Haynes Creek inflow, forming a delta. This occurs as sediment-laden water slows upon entering the lake, causing the sediment to settle. So we know sediment infilling is occurring at the inflow location, but the key question is whether the same rate of infilling is happening across the entire lake. To answer this, we collected new bathymetric data in November 2022 using a multi-beam echo sounder paired with an inertial navigation system. Mounted on a boat, the system measures depth by calculating sound speed through water, capturing hundreds of points as it moves. The process visually resembles painting the lake bottom in real time. When we combine the bathymetric data with topographic data to define shoreline elevations, we end up with an updated map showing the lake as it appeared in November 2022. From this map, we generated topobathymetric contours and updated the elevation capacity table, both of which are available in the publication resulting from this study. To assess sediment infilling, we then created a difference map by comparing the 2022 and 2012 maps using geomorphic change detection analysis. This method subtracts the older elevation data from the newer data, highlighting areas where sediment has accumulated or been removed. We also accounted for change detection uncertainty, so we could estimate differences that could be due to measurement uncertainty rather than real landscape changes. Here is the difference map between 2022 and 2012. To interpret this map, it's helpful to know that areas with blue indicates an elevation increase since 2012, which is likely deposition. Red indicates an elevation decrease, which is likely erosion, while light yellow shows little to no change. So the first thing you might notice with that information is that most of the survey area is dominated by no change, or those light yellow colors. However, we do see a concentration of blue or deposition near the inflow location of Big Haynes Creek at the northern part of the lake, and that decreases in magnitude moving away from the inflow area. So this blue spatial pattern we see is consistent with what we interpreted from the satellite imagery I first showed you, where you've got the formation of a deposit called a delta that tapers out towards the interior of the lake. Next, we use the bathymetric change map to calculate volume change since 2012. There is inherently some error in these estimates, but also the error puts the volume results into perspective. The volume of uncertainty compounds with area, so if we just have a little bit of measured volume change, that change is likely to be within the uncertainty. This table from the report compares volume change for the entire lake and the sub-area near the Big Haynes Creek inflow. While change across the whole lake is negligible, it is detectable in the Big Haynes Creek area where sedimentation is more concentrated. This difference occurs because sedimentation rates vary, with most of the lake experiencing minimal change compared to the growing delta. Overall, even the highest measured change is less than 1% of the lake's total normal pool volume. The lack of measured volume change since 2012 also translates to no loss in storage capacity, as shown by the 2012 and 2022 storage capacity curves plotting on top of each other. Lastly, the reservoir half-life is the time until half the storage capacity is filled with sediment. We estimated this using the computed volume change and considered a range of sedimentation scenarios. The different scenarios account for measured and unmeasured sedimentation. Scenario 2 provides a balanced estimate, predicting the reservoir will reach half capacity in about 1,250 years. In summary, most of Rainy Pointer Lake saw little change since 2012, with sediment accumulation primarily concentrated near the Big Haynes Creek inflow. The total net change was less than 1% of the lake's 2022 storage capacity, and the projected half-life is around 1,250 years from now. Studies like this are important because they help refine long-term storage trends and improve reservoir lifespan forecasts. Thank you for your time and attention, and please don't hesitate to reach out.
All right, thank you. And I do have a few conclusion points that I do want to make about this particular presentation. Data from the 2022 survey was used to generate contours of the reservoir, as well as compute storage capacity at regular increments of the water surface elevation. Storage capacity comparisons between 2012 and 2022 at Randy Partner Lake shows a minimal change of less than 1%. No storage capacity loss, and that the reservoir sediment accumulation will not reach half-life until about 1,252 years from the year 2022, based on the current settlement yield estimates. And that completes my presentation.
Thank you so much. I do want to say that I've seen this presentation years ago.
Yes, ma'am.
Without a PowerPoint presentation.
Okay.
And this is much more interesting.
All right, well, thank you.
And much more informative. I
Yes,
think for the public and even for myself, I was really impressed by how the boat actually uses the sonar. So
Yes.
thank you for including that today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Any questions? All right, thank you.
All right. At this time, I do want to recognize our House of Representatives member, Rhonda Taylor, here today. Thank you for coming to our meeting. I appreciate that. She is also a resident in Rockdale County. Sometimes districts are split between counties, but we're glad to say she is a Rockdale resident. So thank you for being with us. This time we'll take public comment, and if you have a slip, if you'll just make sure to turn it in, we'll be glad to call on you. At this time, we'll start with Miss Josie Dean. I'm fine. If you'll wait just 1 minute, we'll start the clock again. We'll let them leave so everybody can hear you.
Director Hammer, the hero over here,
Yes.
turning with the air and the noise.
Oh, yes.
So, I mean,
Thank you. Thank you.
little
thank
recognition
you.
there. So.
Okay, very good. Go ahead, Miss Dean.
I'm Josie Dean, a community activist, and I thought I was gonna get in here and run out of here. I said, I'm so glad I was finna praise y'all for letting us talk first so we can get in here and get out. And I'm like, darn, I ain't been through this, But I just wanna come and thank y'all, and I wanna thank you, Miss Smith, from coming out to my house and seeing the problems on Flat Shoals and Johnson Road. They are now fixing it.
Good.
I kept telling the city, I came here trying to tell them that if somebody fell in that hole, you would have never knew they was in there. So sometimes we come to praise y'all, and we come to let y'all know if y'all start listening to the citizens, if they're not coming as a whole to make sure everybody's right, you don't have to listen to them. We come try to save y'all millions and millions of dollars. I need 10 grand from the city, and I need 10 grand from the county for me saving y'all millions of dollars. You know, what y'all call troublemakers ain't troublemakers. We trying to save our county. And I'm like this, Republicans, Democrats, we all got to live in this place together. And I'm like, one for all and all for one. And if we take that, we can be one of the greatest counties in the United States of America. And that's what I'm looking for. What everybody want, what the Democrats want, we want what the all of us, black, white, we want the same thing. We want good government. We want when we pay, we want our service. So stop always thinking everybody come to hurt y'all and stuff. We'll come if you listen to the citizens. Y'all will be in there forever. We trying to save us. We trying to make sure our county is nice and make sure we got what's going on. So I want to thank y'all and commend y'all, Connie Osterbrook, City Council City. She came out and she helped. She took pictures when it was really dangerous. You know, so I just thank y'all girls and thank you for allowing our Stone Water, man. That man really been working. You know, and all that stuff was coming from their city stuff down there to my lake. So now they know what the problem is. So they need to come fix Josie Dean, them lake around there, Palmer Lake. And that's what I named it Mr. Palmer Lake, because Mr. L.C. Palmer and those white people, they took good care of us. Because I told him I was a troublemaker when he moved. He said, no, Rockdale County need troublemaker Joseph. I said, now I'm an activist. I'm one of them real ones now. He said, that's what Rockdale needed, shaking up. And we've been shaking Rockdale up forever. And Van Ness, they don't know when black man never forget have a day. Van Ness was there when wasn't no black folks there. Black folks don't even know they got a day. But Van Ness Neal was there. So Van Ness rock now. We bump heads, but she rock now. So I just come to give y'all praise and give y'all thanks. And do not let Biolab get away with murder. Biolab finna go out here and nobody can tell them nothing what they need done. They told them people to come. They didn't give us the right information. Then now they don't want you to call. So they finna get out like a fat rat and leave all these cancer patients and stuff fool around with y'all. Y'all be blessed.
Thank you. Now we have Mr. Howard.
I'll make mine very brief. Good morning, Board of Commissioners, and congratulations, CEO Van Ness.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm a new resident to Rockdale County from New Jersey. Prior to that, I lived in Midtown before relocating here and purchasing a new home. First, I want to express my gratitude for the outstanding events by the Department of Parks and Recreations, in particular the Friday wind down that my family and I attended last year. It was a remarkable experience that brought our community together in an upscale setting. I recognize that the event that the Director Wilson showed was for kids. However, we need something for seniors and for people in my age group. I have an 82-year-old mother who just relocated here from New Jersey. I don't have anything to take her to make her feel familiar with the area. And so I want to commend the Departments of Parks and Recreation for presenting such quality events like they did last year with the Friday wind down. However, I am saddened to learn that the Sunday brunch in the park has been canceled. My family and I were very eager to attend this year and support our local community. I urge the board to please reconsider this cancellation and explore ways to offer continuous engaging events. As a taxpayer who is paying very high taxes, as I was in New Jersey, I believe that our community deserves vibrant, high-quality programming that fosters connections and enjoyment among residents. Lastly, I heard chatter, unfortunately, that Costly Mill Park may be closing or being sold. This park is not only a beautiful space, but it also serves as an ideal venue for community events, filming, and tourism. Losing such a valuable asset would be a detriment to our community's recreational opportunities. I kindly request an update regarding the status of Costly Mill Park and the board's plans for its future. In closing, I encourage the board to please prioritize maintaining and expanding community events, support the Parks and Recreation Department, and clarify any uncertainties surrounding our beloved parks. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to your responses on these important matters. Again, congratulations, CEO. You're most
Mr.
welcome.
Howard, while you're here, I'll address just a little bit about that. So, first of all, I have not talked about anything regarding closing Costly Mill Park, but we have talked about as a board looking at all of our property in the community and making sure that it's being used for the highest and best use. So we have a couple of major properties, which are 200 acres, 300 acres, and we are getting appraisals on those. So in an effort to try and be good financial stewards, we're assessing all of our properties. And so, but at no time have we said we're closing Costly Mill Park. So let me reassure you of this. As far as the brunch goes, it was brought to our attention because we had a $2,000 bill from the bartenders for that event, and that's really what tipped us off. And so when we did further investigation, there was a little over $1,000 in sales for the brunch, and we as a county spent over $14,500 for the brunch. So you can understand that is a big loss for the county for one event that only was a pretty small group of people. And so we're looking for better ways to be efficient with the tax dollars and yet still provide activities. So the idea is not to eliminate events, but make sure we're more cost effective with the events we have. And there may be user fees associated for those type of events that can, cover the cost. Break even would be the goal at least.
Okay, I appreciate that response.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a great day.
Thank you. We appreciate you. All right, at this time, I'd like to ask for an approval of the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as published.
Madam Chair, I second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the minutes as presented.
I second the motion.
I have an approval of the minutes for the agenda today. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. We'll move to unfinished business.
Item
Madam
one,
Clerk.
oh, sorry, thank
That's
you.
okay.
Item 173 is text amendment case 2025-05, an ordinance to amend the text of section 106-1 definitions, section 218-1 table permitted uses, section 206-1 WP watershed protection district, and section 218-13 standards of use and development of the Unified Development Ordinance of Rockdale County, Georgia, as amended, regarding short-term rentals and amending the supplemental regulations related thereto, to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. This is submitted for a second reading this morning.
I move to approve the second reading and to adopt the ordinance as presented.
Madam Chair, I second that motion.
I do have some questions.
I think Director Gardner would be prepared
yes,
to
if
go
you
over
could-
the changes.
Just for the benefit of the public, can you just give us a brief overview of what this will entail?
Yes, Madam Chair. So the changes, based on suggestions at the last meeting, there was a discussion around the length of occupancy. In the original legislation, there was language that mentioned 14 days or less, but no greater than 30 days. And so for that, staff went back and reviewed other ordinances, and so we came up with the language of 30 consecutive days or less. So that was one of the changes.
Okay.
There were no changes in Section 2 as regards to the zoning districts that this type of use would be permitted in the zoning use where it would be a conditional use, so that did not change.
Okay, can you repeat those zoning?
The zoning
specifications?
districts where it is permitted is AR, agricultural residential, and it would be a conditional use in R1, single family.
Okay, very good.
There were some other areas and changes that we also went through and amended. One such change was in item G, section 4. The original language said no more than 3 people per bedroom, and that was changed to 2 persons per bedroom allowed. In item I, it spoke of the operation of short-term rentals in reference to a guest registry. The original legislation had a guest registry could be kept for 30 days. That language was changed to 3 years, along with other receipts and invoices.
Okay.
We also indicated and put in the legislation as well for the operator to actually have a site plan that indicates where designated parking areas would be. Of course, they would also have to have the name, address, and telephone number and contact information on file. And the operator of such would have to be at least 25 years old. And then upon other suggestions, we also included language that indicated that there would have to be smoke detectors in the unit. As pertains to animals, just making sure those animals were leashed and contained at all times. And also, they would have to follow the code as written in the UDO.
Is there a noise ordinance component?
There is a noise ordinance component. Let's see.
I think I remember 10 p.m., but if you'll
It's
just
actually on the first page. It may feel like it's contained further in the document, but it's actually the first page, section 1, noise prohibited.
Yes,
and it
you
kind
are
of goes
correct.
on. And of course, you would be subject to the general noise prohibition in our nuisance section as well.
Okay.
Does that include dogs barking?
Correct. So dogs would have to, either be confined in the inside of the unit.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, is that everything? Can you explain the purpose of requiring 3 years of receipts and information?
So the purpose of that would be, so that's a 3-year period.
Okay.
So those records will have to remain on file in case someone had questions and would need to go back in and examine the property for whatever reason, if some questions came up.
Is that a pretty standard time frame in your experience?
Looking at previous information and other records, it is.
Okay. All right. Very good.
And Madam Chair, I just want to weigh in on that one for a second. The 3 to 5 years aligns with the Georgia Open Records Act as well when there is correspondence or documents that need to be retained.
Okay. Very, very good. All right. Well, I think this is a step forward for our community just to legitimize what we already know is going on. So I think this is great leadership in your department. So thank you for your help with this ordinance preparation.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
So I had some concerns the last time we met about that length of time, thinking that meant 14 days to 30 days total out of the whole year. But it means one person cannot stay more than 14 days consecutively or 30 days consecutively now.
You are correct.
Yeah.
Or just 30 days total.
30 days or less.
Yeah, less
30
than
days
30
of-
days, so 14 goes away.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, very good. Thank you.
Okay, so you had a motion and a second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Next item is new business.
So item 181 is the Conyers Rockdale Economic Development Council, CREDSI. This is to rescind contract 2024-212. This contract was approved on December the 10th, 2024 by the Board of Commissioners. This is a memorandum of understanding for the development of goals for certain real property at Sigmund Road. The amount was $432,050.
Madam Chair, I move to approve this rescind of this contract as presented.
I second the motion.
All right.
I think we need to have an explanation of why we're
Yeah,
doing
I was
this.
getting it. Okay. I do have a motion and a second. So at this point, I know John Nix is here representing today, and this actually is going to let the monies that were part of the deal for the purchase of the quarry property, which was how many acres, Jennifer?
Almost
35?
40, 30, 35, something
Okay.
like that.
35 acres. That was tucked into the closing agreement, and it will stay with the Board of Commissioners in the general fund until further work is being done on the project, or should we work a collaborative deal with any of the developers?
That's correct. I would say that's accurate.
Thank you. All right. Anything else? Would you
Would
like
you
to say
agree with that?
anything?
No.
Okay.
We're all looking at you. Right.
Okay. All right.
Yes, okay,
We're good.
great. So-
All right. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. The motion carries.
Okay. Item 182 is with the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, CJCC, through Superior Court for the Adult Resource Court Grant. This is change order number 2 to contract 2024-107 to, this is the deobligation of $4,003, which includes matching funds of $601. The term is July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. This is a budgeted item.
I move to approve this contract as presented.
Madam Chair, I second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item 183 is with the Council of Accountability Court Judges to Juvenile Court for the Accountability Court Operating Grant. This is change order number 2 to contract 2024-105. The deobligation of $2,000, which includes the matching funds of $300. The term was July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. This is a budgeted item.
Madam Chair, I move to approve this contract as presented.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries.
Item 184 is with the Atlanta Regional Commission through the Parks and Recreation Senior Services Division for multi-service aging subgrant. This is contract number 1 to contract 2024-73. This is for the additional funds of $57,645.24 with no change in the matching funds. The grant is $573,496.33 with the matching funds of $40,132.30 plus the change order. So the total grant is $673,273.87. The term is July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, and this is a budgeted item.
I move to approve the contract as presented.
Madam Chair, I second that motion, but if possible, can we get some explanation? Because there's a lot of changes in here.
Sure.
Please.
Okay. Hi, Director Susan Morgan and Tahara Wilson. Y'all would like to?
Good morning.
Good morning.
What kind of questions do you have? I'm sorry.
The changes. What caused the changes? Can you explain that, please?
Oh, we were actually allocated more funds with no change in the with the match. So that is going for in-home services.
Can you explain more about what the in-home services are going to be doing?
Yes, ma'am. In-home services includes Meals on Wheels, respite, personal care, case management, and homemaker services. And so what those are is the premise behind them is to provide services so that someone can stay in their home as long as possible and receive support services so that they can be as independent as they can.
I know that your division is a big point of interest in our community. There are a lot of people who have questions about a variety of things regarding our seniors. Can you give us the phone number for people to call if they have questions or how they could reach you?
Yes, ma'am. 770-278-7230. And we're located at 1240 Dogwood Drive, which is just behind the Waffle House and near the Subway.
Just off West Avenue.
Off West Avenue, yes. We'd love to have anybody that would like to come by and visit.
Okay, wonderful.
So just to clarify, the additional funds means you have received a grant for more funding for these services.
Yes, ma'am. During the process, when they go through, is that most of the time there is a change in the middle of a grant, and it is a legislative change. So this amount of money was approved for us to add to our grant. And the great thing is that because of the way we lined it up to begin with, it fell into a fund source which did not require us to have a match. So that was really, really good that worked.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you want to add anything, Director Wilson?
Deputy Morgan does a great job.
Yes, thank you.
Excellent addition.
May I add something if you don't
Sure.
mind? I love to give positive comments, and the gentleman here that talked about EMS, I just wanted to give a shout out to the fire department and code enforcement. Senior Services has had a long relationship with trying to deal with the frequent flyers to try to reduce costs. And the fire department, code enforcement, all of us really work together. That's one of the wonderful things about Rockdale is that all these different agencies come together to try to help people. And I just wanted to let you know.
Well, I think that's a very valid point you bring up because that program had a lot of merit to it. And I found that it did reduce the burden on both EMS as well as our hospital system and served, I think it served our public a lot better from a holistic standpoint. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
A lot of times case management and working together with the teams can really make a difference for our lower income.
I think that's the word I was missing earlier, case management.
Case
that was
management.
really the piece that was so important in that project. So thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries.
Item 185 is with the Georgia Forestry Commission to rescind contract 2024-124. This contract was approved on August the 13th, 2024 through Fire Rescue for the Rural Fire Defense Cooperative Lease and Memorandum of Understanding for Wildlife Assistance at no cost. This is for year to year and not to exceed 3 years.
Madam Chair, I move to approve this, to rescind this contract as presented.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. I do have a question, if it could be addressed, as to why we are rescinding this.
So, you could take it, Chief Robinson.
Chief Robinson.
Yes, ma'am. So this contract with the new fire chief and them having a new forester, it's simply the next item, number 186, reestablishes the same contract that it's rescinding. So it's just, it's change of names.
Oh, very
Yes, ma'am.
good. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. The motion carries.
And item 186 is with the Georgia Forestry Commission through the Fire Rescue Department for the Rural Fire Defense Cooperative Lease and Memorandum of Understanding for Wildlife Assistance. This is at no cost. It's for year to year and not to exceed 3 years.
I move to approve this contract as presented.
Madam Chair, I second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Item 187 is with Forensic Medicine Associates Incorporated through the Coroner's Office. This is for the annual medical examiner consulting services. Change order number 1 to contract 2023-94. It's a price increase from $100,000 a year to $110,000 per year. This ends June 30th, 2026. This is through the general fund and is a budgeted item.
Madam Chair, I move to approve this contract as presented.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. I did have a question for the clerk. Can you tell me about the history of this contract and when we started doing this?
When we started having a contract for the Forensic Medicine Associates, it's only been for a few years. It hasn't been too long. And I think this particular one started in 2022. So was that maybe 3 years?
I would like to think about maybe deferring this to a future vote if possible.
Okay.
That would just be my recommendation.
Well, right now you have a motion and a second to approve it. Would someone like to restate their motion to defer this contract?
Or we can take the vote.
Okay, so what exactly does this contract do? What services do they provide?
So my familiarity is in the past that we did not have a contract with anyone. We had somebody deemed as the medical examiner. So,
And that was when the coroner was a doctor. So I think that makes a difference.
but we had a
because-
coroner for many years that wasn't a doctor
Okay.
with the current coroner.
And I believe that they contracted with the GBI with their medical examiner.
So, okay. So can we defer this item? Would it be of
Since we have so
interest?
many unanswered questions.
Yes,
I think
sure.
it just deserves
Yeah, because right here it
further
just says
explanation.
renewal of contract and price increase for autopsies and toxicology services. So,
Okay.
so if y'all want to
All right.
restate your to defer this, right? Okay.
Madam Chair, I move to defer this contract.
I second that motion. I have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Thank you. Item 188 is with Atlanta Paving and Concrete Construction. This is through the Transportation Department for SPLOST 5A Full Depth Reclamation. This is change order number 1 to contract 2024-202. This is for the additional services for Frontier and Bethel Road clearing and ditching. It's an additional $295,239. The previous amount was $2,593,841. The new contract total is $2,889.80. This is SPLOST funded and is a budgeted item.
I move to approve this contract as presented.
I have a question. Can you explain what was the cause of the increase?
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. As the item states, we had some issues with drainage and ditching. Some of those roads have a long history. For example, Frontier was out for several years with a dam with the road that took everything out. So nobody was using that road. The ditches grew trees. Trees just kind of took over those roads. Now that those are back open, we need to revitalize those roads, hence the full depth reclamation. But that doesn't address the drainage of those roads, those ditches, to keep the water away. If we don't properly get the water away, we'll lose that surface in both those instances. And that's identical for Bethel and Frontier. So that drainage needs to be addressed.
So once we do that, we will eliminate that problem, is what you're saying?
For future, yes.
Okay, all right.
And I know this is something to celebrate, this contract, because Bethel Road, the residents have been wanting this for so long, and I was out that way the other day, and I just, I'd like to apologize to the residents on that road. It's been quite a challenge, but there's been some holdup, I think, because of the contract needed for right-of-way, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so I'm happy to proceed today. Thank you for
Absolutely.
your help with this.
I would have one more moment
Sure.
of your time. I just got some information that I know the beloved Dogwood Drive.
Yes.
It's now under construction as of today.
That's awesome.
Dogwood Drive where? Like
Starting from the east side of the county.
And we're
So-
talking about specifically where? What's there? Like a TJ Maxx, the shopping commercial
So
area?
there's a KG shoe store.
K&D.
K&D shoe store.
Oh, and they'll work towards
Towards 138.
the shopping district, our
Mhm.
biggest commercial
Are they
district.
repaving? Is that what they're
Correct.
doing? Oh, good, because
I think
I
just
bumped
wanna have
over
a
those
party today to
holes this
celebrate
last
these
week.
great moves. Can you give us a time frame? I know they're working on Old Parker Road right now, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Can you, I got to see Hole Road and Walker Road being finished last week. Can you talk about when Bethel and Frontier are on the schedule?
So as we're still finalizing the right-of-way details, we'll probably move Bethel to the very end, and we'll probably jump to Frontier first. So that probably will bump Bethel into May, middle of May. We need to get that right-of-way out of the way first and make sure that we're good to go.
Okay.
And so that will make us do Frontier, and that'll probably take 2-3 weeks to get the drainage and then the road right. The surface of that road is pretty bad.
Okay. And how long will it take for Dogwood to be completed?
Let me get back to you on that one.
Okay. All right. Very good. But very good news from your department. Thank you, Director Kelly. All right.
Madam Chair, I second that motion.
All right. I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Item 189 is with the Georgia Department of Transportation through the Transportation Department for right-of-way maintenance agreement, herbicide, and removal of the vegetation on I-20 in Rockdale County. This is a 50-year agreement and is through the general fund.
I move to approve this contract, but do you have an amount for that? Because it's not listed.
That's the exact
Well,
question
I
I
was-
wrote down.
Yes. Then you will like to hear from Director Kelly.
All right. So that amount will vary. It's at our discretion. So the good part about the connection we have with GDOT, that of course I-20 is totally run by GDOT, but with sometimes their forces aren't able to get there. So if we're able to maintain, we're allowed to without going through the easements that we have to get required and the right-of-way access. With this agreement, we'll be able to attend to any of those portions as we see fit, without going through some of that rigmarole, you would say. There is not a set amount because it's at the county's discretion.
Okay.
So we choose how much we want to pay.
Correct. If it's a portion of the fence we want to fix, we'll go get it. So if it's one portion that maybe 10 or 15 feet, we might not go get that because it's a small portion. But if there's 100, 200 feet, we may put a force together to go after that. And same thing with vegetation.
Can you, could you keep a total of work orders for us?
Year
as
over
a
year,
board?
yes.
Yes, okay.
Mhm.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I second the motion.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item 190 is with Gresham Smith through the Transportation Department for the Comprehensive Transportation Plan. The current fee is $312,495. This is change order number 1 to contract 2024-54 for a modified scope element to cover additional coordination, delegation, and community engagement. This is an additional $286,500. For the new total contract amount is $598,995 and an additional 6 months. This is funded through SPLOST at 20%, and then grants would be 80% funded and is a budgeted item.
I move to approve the contract as presented.
Madam Chair, I second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Would this be Director Hammer or Director Kelly?
Director Kelly.
You're getting your exercise today.
Yes.
So this is a grant we received through the ARC, through the FHWA, of course. So this looks at the future of Rockdale as a whole. This scope will capture, as we look to the future, south side of the county, we've already identified several roads that would be widened to help flow capacity east to west. A lot of times we talk about 138 jammed up. For example, Flat Shoals or Honey Creek have already been kind of flagged as ideal. We need to understand what that entails for environmental, where we connect for Honey Creek, for example, 212 or 162. How does that pull flow and pull cars and congestion away from downtown Conyers? All that's part of this study. So that was the change that we are looking to grasp here.
So the change amount, is that because we added 6 months of time to it? Is
Correct. Scope and 6 months.
Okay.
To capture all that information.
All right, just for clarification, why did we not know the length of time it would take in the beginning?
So we set a original time was 18 months.
Mhm.
And so when we changed, we went to the ARC committee and kind of gave them an idea of what we're looking for, and we put a time slot on that, and that came to be about 6 months.
Does it also have a relationship to the Courtesy Parkway Bridge? So is it that they're looking at that longer scope to see what the result of, for example, the Courtesy Parkway Bridge
That will be captured, included. Yes.
Okay. All right.
So there is information from the results of that one, because that one will help. So they'll analyze what that does to Flat Shoals.
To the overall
Yes,
flow.
and that will help deciding on which one. If there's a southern, like Sigmund is clearly our northern arch, which one will be our southern arch?
So within 2 years, I don't know when the clock started ticking for this. Do you?
That was last year.
Last year.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you're about 8-9 months in.
All right, so this won't capture the results of Sigmund Road 3 and 4. The 3
It
and
will
4
consider
contracts.
those, because
Oh, it will?
those capacities already have a number, and we already have a concept design for that's going about to be complete. So that design, it's already looking at about 25,000 cars.
Okay.
So that information will be included, and then we're going to go ahead and expand on and look to, when we build it out, how far do we want that to reach? So we anticipate what that design would carry. So if we want to go 5,000 over, then we'll do that at the time.
Very good. All right. I think I have a motion and a second. So all in favor say aye. Aye. The motion carries.
Item 191 is with Professionally Engineered Structures and Associates LLC through the General Services Department for Wheeler Park site construction. The amount is $588,995. This is at 180 days. This is SPLOST funded and a budgeted item.
Madam Chair, I move to approve this contract as presented.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. I would like to get clarification on what exactly this will be at Wheeler Park that'll be added.
This one is me. So good morning, Madam Chair, Madam Commissioners.
Good morning.
So we put out a bid for Wheeler Park. This is the results of the bid. They're the highest ranked, lowest bidded, responsive bidder. The scope of work is for, if you're looking at the street from Parker Road, this is the Wheeler Park on the south side of it, not on the tennis side, but over
Which
where
we
we
call
have
the lawn.
the lawn at Wheeler
yes.
Park. That's right. It's been dubbed that. So this is for the grading. If you were to look at where the playground and the pavilion are, everything downhill from there, it needs to be graded out. And the utilities, both tied in from Parker Road and tied into the sewer, power, and water. And then the storm water, the retention has to be improved, and this would be to prep for the skate park and the splash pad that are being put in on that side. So they'll have some protection fence for everything on the flat area on the lawn, where the amphitheater, all the way up to the playground and pavilion, and the pickleball courts. So this would be everything downhill from there.
And does it include restrooms?
Yes, there'll be
Okay.
restrooms
I
as
thought
well.
I
They'll be
remembered.
graded out and the utilities prepped for. There's a single stall restroom there that'll be relocated. It's a modular building, so we get to relocate it to another spot that we need, and there'll be a modular building put in that has 4 restrooms. If you remember the 4-pack that we talked about last year, that'll be placed on there, and then all the utilities connected to it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So we had a motion and a second.
Yes, thank you. I have a motion and a 2nd. All in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. Motion carries.
Item 192 is with Dell Marketing LP, care of Dell USA, through the Technology Services Department. This is for Microsoft Enterprise. Change order number 5 to contract 2020-72 to add VLA licenses to support test tenant services. It's an additional $8,116.50. This is for a 1-year term. This is to the general fund and is a budgeted item.
I move to approve the contract as presented.
Madam Chair, I second that motion.
I have a motion and a 2nd. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item 193 is with Heritage Hills Baptist Church for the Emergency Management Agency Department. This is for the Memorandum of Understanding to provide a point of distribution location during a disaster or POD to allow access to their parking lot for distribution of supplies. EMA will work to establish the POD for distribution needs. EMA will also assist the church with the paperwork for reimbursement if disaster is federally declared. This is at no cost to the county with annual renewals.
Madam Chair, I move to approve this contract as presented.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a 2nd. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries.
Item 194 is with the City of Conyers for the Emergency Management Agency Department for a memorandum of understanding to provide a point of distribution location at the Georgia International Horse Park during a disaster or POD to allow access to their parking lot for distribution of supplies. EMA will work to establish the POD for the distribution needs. EMA will assist the Georgia International Horse Park in the completion of the paperwork for reimbursement if disaster is federally declared. This is at no cost to the county and annual renewals.
I move to approve the contract as presented.
Madam Chair, I second that motion and thank Heritage Hills Baptist Church and the city for providing this service at no cost to our county.
I have a motion and a 2nd. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item 195 is a requisition through the Water Resources Department for inliner solutions for the sewer rehabilitation of manhole and pipes throughout the county. The cost is $2,995,021.71. This is through October 25th, 2025. This is funded through the Water Enterprise Fund and is a budgeted item.
Madam Chair, I move to approve this requisition as presented.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a 2nd. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries.
Item 196 is a requisition through the General Services Department for Laz and Associates LLC to install a 2-hour fire-rated wall in the real estate corridor at the Annex Building Courthouse. The amount is $35,570.70. This is SPLOST funded and is a budgeted item.
I move to approve the requisition as presented.
Madam Chair, I second that motion.
Motion and a 2nd. And Director Hammer, if you could address this, I would appreciate it.
Good morning again. So what we have here is as the construction of the judicial complex proceeds, the courthouse, the new courthouse portion of it will come up right up against the 3-story annex building. Because of that, there is an emergency egress corridor that goes from the third floor, second floor, and the first floor, and it exits currently where it would have exited before we had construction, exited right into the construction zone. So right now it exits right where we're going to be putting the building. So obviously that corridor has to be rerouted from on the inside of it so that anybody exiting on opposite sides of the building, one side of the building can get down the way they need to right now. The second way on the opposite side of the building, a secondary means of egress, they come down to the stairway, and at the moment they would exit into a construction area. So we have to create a little bit of a corridor, a little bit different on the inside to get them to the outside in case there were some type of emergency.
Okay.
So this is what that's for.
All right, and is this part of the SPLOST funding that was dedicated
For the
to
courthouse.
the renovations?
That's correct.
Of the courthouse, okay.
That's
and
correct.
so, so the same would apply to the next item as well?
The next item, yes, that's a little bit different. It's less construction oriented. This is really for on the sheriff's side of things. And the consultant that the sheriff has selected for this is really a very highly specialized. He was a previous, Mr. Copeland was a chief deputy of Douglas County, I believe.
Okay.
So he was both on the sheriff's side of things, and then when he retired from the sheriff's department there, he then consulted with different jurisdictions around that. Then they built courthouses or built jail facilities or upgraded their facilities, and what he specializes in is sort of guiding the sheriff's office into a new facility by developing different security protocols, writing procedures, and then training staff on it. And that's what that's for.
Okay, thank you. All right, so back to 196. I have a motion and a second. If there's no questions, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries.
Item 197 is a requisition through the General Services Department for Standco and Associates Justice Consultants LLC. This is for the operational security consulting in the amount of $36,000. This is JAC funded and is a budgeted item.
Madam Chair, I move to approve this requisition as presented.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. The motion carries.
Item 198 is a requisition through Technology Services Department for Insight Public Sector Incorporated for the Barracuda email protection. The amount is $43,056. It's a renewal for April 30th, 2025 through April 29th, 2026. This is through the general fund and is a budgeted item.
I move to approve this requisition as presented.
Madam Chair, I second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 199 is an expenditure request through Tyler Technologies for the Clerk of Court's office. This is for Tyler annual SaaS hosting and license fee. The amount is $325,742.55. This is a renewal, April 24 through 2025. April 24, 2025 through April 23, 2026. This is through the general fund and is a budgeted item.
Madam Chair, I move to approve this expenditure as request as presented.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries.
Item 200 is a request for surplus of equipment through the Clerk of Court's office, Planning and Development Department, and the Fire Rescue Department.
I move to declare these items as surplus as presented.
Madam Chair, I second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Item 201 is a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Rockdale County, Georgia, approving the issuance of revenue bonds by the Development Authority of Rockdale County. John Nix is here this morning if you would like for him to come to the podium.
If we want to make it public, yes. I think.
Okay.
I think we're pretty aware of the
if you just want to
situation.
Give the short synopsis.
The Development Authority is looking to issue tax-exempt bonds to the Terraces, which is a for-profit company. I misspoke at the last meeting. They are not a nonprofit. Who own the apartments, 315 units right off of Ellington Road. They currently have funding through a bond resolution, but they're coming back to refinance. As part of that refinancing, the Development Authority has worked out an agreement with them to where we're going to be monitoring the property and we have some more teeth in that process, but we have a very good partnership going on with them right now. The reason it's before you is under the federal tax code. In order to issue tax-exempt bonds, there has to be a public hearing. We did that, and no one attended. That was back on March the 31st. The second step is the local governing authority has to approve the transaction. And by approving the transaction, that just means you're going to allow the authority to go forward with the tax-exempt bonds. You do not have any obligation financially to them. The authority has no obligation to them financially, and there is no tax abatement associated with this. So it's a technicality through the federal revenue code for the local jurisdiction to approve the transaction.
Okay.
Thank you. Very good. Madam Chair, I move to approve this resolution as presented.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries.
Item 202 is a volunteer appointment through the Department of Family and Children Services. This is a reappointment of Charlene Ellis. The term would be June 30th, 2025 through June 30th, 2030.
I move to approve this reappointment as presented.
Madam Chair, I second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Item 203 is a requisition through the Transportation Department for Atkins Realist for the general design services for the 2024 LMIG. The amount is $100,000. This is through the LMIG grant funding and is a budgeted item.
Madam Chair, I move to approve this requisition as presented.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item 204 is a requisition through the Transportation Department for Atlas. This is for the program management for the SPLOST projects. The amount is $100,000. This is SPLOST funded and is a budgeted item.
I move to approve the requisition as presented.
Madam Chair, I second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 The motion carries.
Item 205 is a requisition through the Transportation Department for Volkert Incorporated. This is for engineering services for the SPLOST projects. The amount is $100,000. This is SPLOST funded and is a budgeted item.
Madam Chair, I move to approve this requisition as presented.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. The motion carries.
Item 206 is a requisition to the Transportation Department for CDM Smith Incorporated for signal warrant studies at Honey Creek Road Southeast, Underwood Road, and McWilliams Road Southwest. This is for the speed table study. The amount is $15,000. This is SPLOST funded and is a budgeted item.
I move to approve this requisition as presented.
Madam Chair, I second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries.
Item 207 is a requisition through the Transportation Department for CMS for material sampling and testing roadway rehabilitation. The amount is $100,000. This is SPLOST funded and is a budgeted item.
Okay. I do have a question about the increase, of course, for that time frame. And my question is because of the contract, original contract that it was presented, and it said it was a not to exceed amount that was presented to us, but we're exceeding 15,000. Just want to get some clarification
For
on that, please.
CMS?
Yes.
So the original study was going to carry for the first part of 6 resurfacing projects. That's full depth reclamation was the first one. Those are the ones that need to be fully replaced. The resurfacing ones, you still need to do testing, but they're a little bit less. So we're looking to have this vendor and one more, because we have 6 total projects that are coming up. And so just so we don't have one person doing all the testing, we want to split that up, maybe 3 and 3. So if we're going to and replacing these roads, we want to make sure we have enough sampling abilities to make sure what we're putting down, there's no issues beneath. So we definitely need to make sure we have ability, and this also is not to exceed, because we want to be able to touch each road if we need to, and if we don't use it, we won't use it. The original for FDR, we did have some issues underneath once we opened the road up, and that kind of blew through that first 15,000. There were some issues there.
Okay.
And so when we use another testing source, is there a concern that maybe the integrity could be different from vendor to vendor, and that maybe we don't have the
So
consistent
typically,
results?
So yes, typically we want to make sure that we're covering all our bases. And so sometimes if there's issues in one place, you can catch issues that may be underground that you don't see. If there's underground streams, aquifers, whatever, sometimes you may catch them in one and you may catch them on another instance. So you want to kind of spread that around. Sometimes when you have designs, if you don't want to have the engineer that designed it also doing the sampling, then doing the
right,
and because he's not going to tell you that he
yes.
So.
Okay. All right, got it. So we have a motion and a second. All
Actually,
in
no
favor?
motions.
What?
Gotta start all over. Motion.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, Madam Chair, I move to approve this requisition as presented.
I second the motion.
Now I have a motion
Now
and
you
a
do.
second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries.
Right. Item 208 is a limited warranty deed of gift through the Water Resources Department for Honey Creek and Scott Creek pump stations and the force mains. This is at the Hicks property, land lot 113 and 144 of the 11th District, Rockdale County, Georgia, 16.7 acre tract.
I move to approve this deed as presented.
I second the motion with a thank you to the Hicks family.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 209 is an expenditure request for Envelopes and Forms Incorporated, also known as SureBill, through the Board of Assessors Office. This is for the mailing service of 39,000 notices of assessments. The amount is $24,482.80. This is through the general fund and is a budgeted item.
Madam Chair, I move to approve this expenditure request as presented.
I have a motion and
It's all right. I second the motion. I'm sure our citizens are super excited about this.
Oh, yes. I have a motion and a second, and I would like to know from Director Berkeley, what time frame can citizens expect these?
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, other commissioners.
Good morning.
We are anticipating getting these notices mailed out Friday, April 25th. However, we've run into a lot of issues as far as with House Bill 92 as far as the changes based on the software. So the vendors are modifying those changes daily and hourly. So with that being said, we're very hopeful that we'll get them out on Friday. If not, then maybe one day next week that we'll get them out.
I think they'll be fine to wait if they need to. Can you give the citizens an idea of what they might expect in the mail that'll look a little bit different than that has in years past?
Okay, because of House Bill 92, we made some other modifications as well as House Bill 581. Those modifications required that we put an estimated rollback rate on the notice of assessments. We did receive a certified, estimate of rollback from the city of Conyers. So what you're going to see for the notice of assessments that the city of Conyers residents are going to receive is going to be slightly different from the ones that will be received by the citizens of Rockdale in unincorporated portion. So what we're doing is we're having to create a hybrid type of notice of assessments, because on those other notices of assessments, it's going to be very similar to what they were the previous year. It's going to identify the amount of taxes that was assessed based on last year's millage rate. However, I think that it's probably important just to be able to see that, just to give them an estimate as far as what those taxes are going to be. However, for the city, the taxes portion is not going to be on there. We're required by law only to provide an estimate rollback rate, and that's what will be on
I
those.
think you mean the county.
No, in the city, they will receive the estimated rollback rate. In the county, we're not providing that portion. We're going to provide the portion that actually identifies the amount of taxes that's going to be on there.
So if you're in the city, you will see the valuation plus the amount based on that rate, correct?
You will see only
city.
the rate and the amount of the assessed value. Now, if you're in the county, because those the estimated rollback was not certified, you're going to see the rate, the previous year's millage rate, as well as the amount of taxes that you would be obligated to based on that estimated value.
Okay.
Now, however, there's going to be, you can't really calculate it based on that because there are some numbers that are going to be behind the scene because you're actually going to be billed based upon the previous year's value because that value is going to be frozen if you previously had homestead.
Okay. So I did speak to Dante at ACCG, and he did say that communities do have the option of not having to go to the rollback rate, but doing a lesser amount than the millage from last year.
Okay.
So right now, is in an overabundance of caution, I think the will of the board has been to leave it at the number from last year, correct?
That is correct.
All right, so I don't want to create panic for citizens thinking they'll be billed the same thing they were last year.
Right.
This is just something we have to do as a mandatory notification to taxpayers,
Right.
correct?
And that's totally correct. And for the ones that are also in the county, if you see that your current fair market value actually has increased, you're going to also see that the estimated taxes portion of that will be the same as what it was the previous year. However, in looking at it from that perspective, even though the value has increased, you're still paying the same amount that you paid the previous year. That, that's going to be what you will see. However, once you guys go through the millage rate process, if you decide to lower it even lower, then the tax is going to be lower. Or if you decide to raise it, they will be higher.
Well, I don't think raising it was an option that the
Right.
board's talked about, but we will put all the numbers together. There's a lot of moving pieces, and I know that we've made a lot of strides in trying to cut wasteful spending and other measures. So I'm optimistic that we will do much better than last year.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Okay, no problem.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
So we had a motion and a second.
All right, motion and a second. Any questions from the board? No? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Item 210 is a resolution to accept property for the purposes of Rockdale County Fire Rescue Special Operation Teams.
I move to approve this resolution as presented. Madam Chair, I second that motion with a thank you to the Lowe's Corporation for their donation.
Yes. I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries.
Item 211 is a requisition through General Services Department for United Maintenance. This is for emergency replacement of 2 AC units at the EMA 911 Center. The amount is $24,614. This is host funded and is a budgeted item.
Madam Chair, I move to approve this requisition as presented.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. All right, at this time, we'll move to board comments. Commissioner Smith?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I want to give a shout out to General Ray Davis Middle School. I'm sorry. They had a Create the Bowl, and this is for their community dinner. It's the Empty Bowl dinner, and they're having their dinner on Thursday, April 24th from 5 to 7. And the proceeds for this dinner will benefit Rockdale Emergency Relief. So if you don't have dinner cooked, go out and support them at General Ray Davis. And also the Keep Conyers Rockdale Beautiful Committee started, and it has been formed, and we had a meeting. And it consists of at least 95,000 members. How do you have so many members, you may ask? Because everyone here in Rockdale County is a part of Keep Conyers Rockdale Clean and Beautiful. All of us have a part to play. And one of the things that you can do, one simple thing that you can do is not to litter. I ask that you please dispose of your trash properly. And if you see something that needs attention, let us know, because that, like I said, that committee is up and running. And today is also Earth Day, and it is in its 55th year. And for Earth Day, a video was created for your enjoyment. Hello, Conyers Rockdale. I am Tanya Smith, Your Commissioner Post 1, and it is Earth Day. I am so excited about the great things that we have planned to keep Conyers Rockdale beautiful. We have formed a committee of like-minded neighbors to make sure that we continue to keep the integrity of our beautiful county. Here are 3 simple things that you can do to help keep Conyers Rockdale beautiful. 1, don't litter. If you're driving, walking, or enjoying our beautiful parks, make sure that you dispose of your trash properly. 2, recycle right. Separate your recyclables from your everyday trash. 3, join a cleanup community event. This is a great opportunity for you to meet your neighbors and to make where you live clean and vibrant. Now we're here at Rockdale Community Garden, a perfect reminder of why we should protect our environment. Let's talk about 3 easy ways you can help preserve Rockdale's natural beauty. Number 1, plant native species. These require less water and less maintenance. And they also support our local wildlife. 2, you can save water, whether it's turning off the water when you're brushing your teeth or having rain barrels outside your house. Every drop counts. Number 3, teach the next generation. Let them go outside, teach them how to garden, and also have the discussions about the importance of conservation. Small things add up in big ways, and with your help, we can continue to grow Rockdale cleaner and greener. Happy Earth Day!
Ooh, that was great. Okay, so in my closing, I will leave you with an Earth Day quote. The greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. All right, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. That was excellent.
I loved that. That was so great.
Thank
you
you.
for doing that. The Parks and Rec had an extravaganza last week. Easter, what was it? Easter extravaganza. Okay, trying to get that right. And I want them to know that someone pulled me aside the other day and said it was fabulous. Their grandchildren loved it, and they were super impressed with how well it was orchestrated and how well it was done. So thank you very much for that. The Council for State Government's Justice Center has a new initiative this year on, it's not project, but it's 2030. And it has to do with the family supports needed for families that are have members in addiction or with mental health issues. And they should be presenting that at NACO in July. In connection with that, then, I will be hosting on May 15th at the Rockdale Career Academy Bridges of Hope, Family Empowerment and Connection Symposium. And the emphasis is going to be on the role of families in increasing success and providing the necessary and appropriate supports for family members that need it. And it will be held May 15th from 5 to 8 p.m. Dinner will be provided. The whole event is free. The keynote speaker is Dominique Simon Levine, who's from Massachusetts and has had for about more than 20 years a specific program and support group for families. And she will be coming to be our keynote speaker. She's very excited about it. She has done some work in Rockdale already, and will be presenting information to help families know how to provide appropriate supports. Then we also will have a panel, and I don't know, you can't really see at the top there, but it's someone from the sheriff's office, someone from NAMI, Tandy Harris, who works for DBHDD, who is a Rockdale resident, Chad Jones from Viewpoint Health, and Ron Fairley, who headed up our housing task force last year. And so it should be a really, really interesting event. We're hoping to get a large crowd out. We also have a performer. His name is John Michael. He did a little rap at the last CRN meeting, and so Katrina has asked him to do a rap at this event surrounding mental health and mental wellness especially. So we invite everybody to come. Registration is open on eventbrite.com. We'd appreciate your registering so that we know how many people to plan for. Those are my comments.
All right. Thank you very much. And I'd just like to mention that tomorrow at 9 a.m. is the State of the County. Doors open at 8 a.m. It'll be next door in the Rockdale Auditorium. So we hope to see everyone there. And there will be breakfast and some light treats in the morning. But anyway, it should be a great event and give us an update on where we're going from here. I also want to recognize the Morgan family. Chief Tommy Morgan was a long-standing public servant in our community and served as fire chief for a very long time. Jennifer may know how long time exactly. I don't.
And the first city manager too.
I did not know that. The first city manager.
Still with the city of Conyers when we merged the fire department. So yeah, lots of history, and someone who constantly served in no matter what capacity he was in. Chief Morgan was very much involved.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He and his wife Donna were also very involved with the Disciple House from the Methodist Church, and did a lot with that.
We could talk for a long time about all the great things Tommy did.
Yes.
But anyway, just my condolences to the family. Fantastic people. So thank you for all that he did. All right, executive session.
No, Madam Chair, there's no need for executive session today.
All right, very good. With that being said, we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much.